Hey guys, welcome to the Value Show. I am your host, Charles Mitchell, and I am here interviewing one of the founding members of the American Immersion Theater. His name is Justin Issa. Hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm doing well, Charles. How are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. So, let's start talking about this. So, when it comes to people love theater, people are very. There's so many things a part of it. What makes the American Immersion Theater different compared to other theater companies that are out there?
That's a great question. So, our philosophy sort of is that theater is a story that's about other people. It's something you go and you watch and you see and you enjoy. But American Immersion Theater, what we do is about you. We're an immersive theater, which means that people are invited to become an active part of our world, participate, whether that's through our murder mystery events or some of the other things that we do. We really want to create that experience that people get to make a memory and have an experience rather than just kind of watch something together.
Talk to me about what inspired you to venturing off to being one of the founding members for the American Immersion Theater.
Sure. Well, the owner of the company, Scott Crampton, and I went to a theater high school together a long time ago, and he had started doing these events in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And when he was looking to expand to Chicago, he reached out to me, and with some luck and with some savvy business deals like with Groupon and SEO marketing at the time, which is a fancy way of saying buying up Google words, we were able to kind of build an experience. And what we were inspired by was wanting to play and create a world and a space where people could really make memories and have that us be a part of that time that we did that thing, and walk away. Maybe you remember a great movie that you've seen or maybe a great play, but we know and have known since the very beginning when we saw the magic that this created for groups that this would be something they would always remember doing. And more often than not, their families were going to be a part of it and their friends. And we were just inspired by sharing some of what we've always loved as performers and giving that moment to people who may have never had it, been afraid that they could do it. More people are afraid of public speaking than death. And, just kind of giving people that freedom to play and kind of have that moment in a group.
It's interesting you say that. It's like that, just the whole freedom. And just like you said, public speaking is just it's something like you put yourself out there, and then but at the same time, you're having fun with it. And I think that's some of the unique things about the American Immersion Theater from what I saw in the clips and the video is the fact that just people's interaction, people's just the camaraderie, and just like I said, people having a good time. And it's a world to escape in, but to have fun in. So I'm curious, for when it comes to the audition process, what are some of the things that you're looking for, or even or Scott is looking for as well, when it comes to the casting process?
Sure. Well, mostly what we do are murder mysteries. That's really our bread and butter. So the actors that are creating those worlds of murder mystery, sort of like a live game of Clue, if you will, the actors that we're looking for, actors that can fit some of those archetypes. We're looking for people with big personalities, a lot of energy, people that have that sense of play. And it's not for every actor. It's not for every performer. You could be maybe the world's greatest Shakespearean actor, but what we're creating essentially, I guess the technical term would probably be long form improv. And so we're looking for people that are comfortable with no fourth wall, being able to talk directly with our guests, people that may be watching the show, playing at an active level or playing at more of a passive level. So just versatile, energetic people, and that doesn't fit necessarily one type of person, but a diverse group of people that kind of have those traits as performers, I would say. Yeah, I think being part of us since the beginning, I can really say like the Shark Tank was sort of a culmination point of years of hard work to be able to go in front of like the nation, in front of these billionaires, Mr. Wonderful and all the Mark Cuban and all the people that know the show know, and kind of say like, here's what we've been kind of doing unnoticed out here for 15 years. We've built this thing and we know we have something great. What do you think of it? What does the world kind of think about it? And I'm speaking for Scott a little here. I'm sure that he was, kind of anxious to find out and see, like we knew we had something really special, but I think anyone that goes on that show, like you said, is pitching it to people who've been successful in business and so many different things, and to see, do we stand up? Like, do we really have something sort of at that business marketability level on like a big scale? What is the value that they might put on it? Will they put a kind of value on that?
And speaking of value, since we are the value show,
Yeah.
what do you value most? I mean, you can talk about what you value most about even being part of the American Immersion Theater.
I this may, I hate to sound corny here, but I really just feel like there's a lot of love in what we do. Just love for other people. You really can't do it if you don't. It's not like a play. If I'm in a play, people watch it and maybe I created some beautiful art, but they clap and then I take a bow and then we go home. But with this, like, you're right there. And usually at the end of like one of our events, people are so appreciative, like, thank you so much. And I used to get confused by that in the beginning because I would wonder, like, wow, you didn't really see me do anything, special as a performer. But I realized what we gave to them was that experience and just the value that people have on having a moment and just being a part of, seeing something come out of people that, like I said earlier, they didn't know they had, and just having fun. There's so much going on in the world and there's so much this and that. And I've always believed that our shows are a vacuum where, that stuff gets put aside for a great 2 hours and we get to play. Scott always likes to talk about the fact that as adults, there's a certain point that you don't remember, but you just stop playing. Most adults, you didn't make like an active decision, I'm done, but work, your life, your kids, your family, we just stop playing at a certain point, and we kind of recreate that in a way and say like, hey, you know what, it's okay to play and be silly and have fun. And I just love that. It works every time. We get a lot of groups that'll say like, oh, I don't know, they're kind of shy and I don't think they're going to be into it. They always are. Once that permission has been given to play, I believe that child is still in all of us, and I just love seeing it come out of people.
Ask, how can people connect with the American Immersion Theater?
Well, we audition usually 2 times a year. We're in every city, probably a city near you. They can go to ait.careers, and there's a drop down where they can see relative to what metro area they're in when we're holding our next auditions, and they can sign up. Usually we're looking to add folks in the spring and fall because we do over 6,000 events a year across the country, and we constantly need more performers.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Justin.
Charles, thank you.
Truly appreciate taking the time to speak with us. And want to tell everyone, thank you so much for tuning to The Value Show. I'm your host, Charles Mitchell. Take care.